Hello everyone, Zach Barnes with the WT Sports Network welcoming you to this week's edition of Heard That. WT football with a tough road trip on Saturday to Texas A&M Commerce. Turnovers made life difficult for the Buffs as the Lions ended up with a 36-0 win.
That was the thing. The third quarter was outstanding for them in the third quarter. I think there was, unfortunately for offensively, we didn't play well after that. I mean, there was five or six possessions in the third quarter where they held them and kept them out of the end zone, held them to field goals, and I was real pleased with their defense. Our defensive kids are playing fantastic right now, and hopefully can keep it up for a couple more weeks.
Up next, the Buffs host their final home game of the season and also have senior day against Angelo State.
Really, Angelo is I think they're a really underrated football team. Their defense is fantastic. They got a front four that is athletic. They're a different built front four. They're probably more like Tarleton that we saw earlier in the year. They're a speed-based team, and so they've got some 6'5", 6'6" kids that are a little light, but they run all over the place and they're getting after it. They're real aggressive. Their back end, their skill positions are pretty much all the same kids we've seen the last couple seasons, and so their receiver core is fantastic. They've got two great running backs. Their offensive line's really good. I think they're kind of in the same boat after we lost Dustin. When Dustin graduated and Taylor and Keith and those guys graduate, you invest so much time in that quarterback position, kind of like they did with Kyle. Now they got to find the next guy to be the one in charge. And I think once they figure that out, they're going to be a really good football team, because I think that's just kind of where they're searching right now, because they've been in every ball game except a couple. And so we're expecting a really good team. I think it's just tough on travel schedule. They got to go to Silver City, then they got to come here, and so that's going to be a little bit of an advantage for us just in time. But talent-wise, they're well coached and they've got some good players.
Lady Buffs also with a tough road venture this last week. First on Friday, the Lady Buffs saw the Angelo State Ram Bells, ended up losing that one in 4 sets. And on the following Saturday, the Tarleton State Texans ended up sweeping the Lady Buffs. Then last night, the Lady Buffs ended up going to Western New Mexico, where the Mustangs got a 5-set win over the Lady Buffs. Even though the Lady Buffs did lose that game, Lauren Britton did become the 4th Lady Buff to cross the 2,000 career dig mark.
We're just not there set one against Angelo, and then we come back and it's pretty good. And then we had a lead in all 4 sets. We had a lead, and those leads, again, any volleyball game you can go back and forth, but all those leads we relinquished just because we just made silly mistakes. So
up next for the Lady Buffs, this Friday they will play St. Edwards at 1 o'clock and then to face Texas A&M Kingsville at 7. After that, on the 8th, the Lady Buffs will host UT Permian Basin. Buffalo soccer with quite the eventful week this last week. First, last Thursday, the Buffs went to UT Permian Basin. In Odessa, the Buffs ended up with a big 4-0 win. Then on Saturday, the Buffs hit the road again, going to Eastern New Mexico, seeing them for the second time within a week. There, the Greyhounds ended up with a 2-1 victory over West Texas A&M, getting a little bit of revenge for the week before. But then last night, the Greyhounds and the Buffs saw each other again, where the Buffs ended up with a big 5-0 rout over the Greyhounds, the first 2 goals coming within the first 4 minutes of the game.
Gonna try pass to Dezderevic, gets past the defender, has to try and put a shot, and the Buffs are very quickly going to score and get one past James Gutierrez. This one's gonna be a good cross, header towards the goal. That one goes in! Holy cow, we're not even 5 minutes into this one, and the Buffs have a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, it was good to get on top of them early. We thought Merzloff provided some energy and some athleticism and some toughness up front, and he repaid us with a goal early on, and just what we wanted him to do, and kind of helped set the tempo of the match for us. And I know the game was 5-0, but Eastern played pretty well at times too.
That game last night was the Heartland Conference quarterfinal match. Now the Buffs will head to Wichita Falls for the semifinals, and they will first see St. Edwards. Lady Buff soccer also had 2 games this last week. First, last Wednesday, they saw Eastern New Mexico on the road, where the Lady Buffs got a 1-0 win. And then on Sunday, Lady Buffs with a tough 3-2 loss in overtime to Midwestern State.
Couldn't quite tell if Forbes got a piece of that one or not. Lady Buffs took control once again. Morick puts a shot up, gets in! Marlene Van Morick! Dubset has a chance for a cross, able to do so. This one's going to go in off of the post. I couldn't quite tell if the Lady Buff got it. I think that one just goes off of the post.
With that loss, the Lady Buffs did still get to share a Lone Star Conference title with Texas A&M Commerce because they did lose to Angelo State. Lady Buffs' next game will be on Friday in the Lone Star Conference Championship. They do not yet know who they will be playing. They will find out on Thursday night. WT Equestrian hosting their Western competition on Sunday. Lady Buffs with a strong showing where they ended up placing first. Freshman Kendall Woolmer for the Lady Buffs ended up also being awarded High Point Rider. Up next for Lady Buff Equestrian, they will hit the road and go to New Mexico State on November 11th for a Hunt and Western competition. Major League Baseball not the only ones hosting a World Series right now. West Texas A&M Baseball also holding their annual World Series White versus Maroon scrimmage. They started yesterday at 4 o'clock. White team with a 3-1 win over the Maroon team in a pitcher's duel, where the first runs of that game weren't even scored until the bottom of the 8th when the White team put up their 3 runs. They do play one more game today with a chance for a second game depending on who wins that first one. For final results, come back to GoBuffsGo.com and see who ended up getting it. Lastly, don't forget both Buff and Lady Buff Cross Country will head to Denver, Colorado this weekend for the regional championship.
We're super excited about going up to Denver. We raced well for our first time out at Denver, and we've progressed so much over the last month that I'm real excited to see where these girls are. Their times have continued to drop every week, and so just in their maturity of learning how to race and be successful has also grown. We've gotten through some nagging injuries that kind of plagued us at conference, and so I feel like a couple of those girls that weren't at their 100% will be for the regional meet.
A lot of confidence going in. The guys look really good. We're just trying to back off, let the legs recover, let the body recover and heal a little bit from all the training they put in. And they're feeling really confident and ready to go in there and battle.
Thank you for joining us on Heard That this week. Of course, remember to keep up with all Buff and Lady Buff news and updates on GoBuffsGo.com and come back here every Wednesday on Heard That. For the WT Sports Network, I'm Zach Barnes, and we will see you next week.